Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Multifamily Monday. Today I'm very excited. I have a very special guest with me. We're in a 62,000 square foot facility right now, and I tell you what, there's going to be some exciting things coming out of this building. And I'd like to introduce you to Brad. Brad is the CEO of Starbrook Modular. And Starbrook Modular isn't your typical modular maker. Brad, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So let's let our audience know really what is Starbrook Modular. And first and foremost, who are you?
Brad Oldenbrook, pleasure again. And I've spent my entire life in the construction and real estate industry, just fighting our archaic way of building anything, and pretty much fraught with tons of waste, a ton of inefficiency, and obviously inherent delays due to multiple trades, weather, for example, all kinds, whatever you.
And there's a lot of dynamics that go into that as well. And I think that's really a great segue to really, what is Starbrook?
Yeah, so Starbrook's sort of the, what I always say is where finally technology is meeting construction inside these modular factories. And we're basically changing the industry as it's been set for hundreds of years, doing it the old-fashioned way. And so now we're part of what I 100% believe is the move of the future. Is the way we do construction and build good size scale projects for half the time and with practically zero waste and therefore end up saving projects a lot of money.
And we're going to talk about how that happens and the production behind the scenes to get to where those savings are at, where that efficiency is at. But I want you to step back a little bit, because I think when people think of modular, they think of single wide homes, they think of double wide homes. They don't think of high-end residential or what you're doing as well, apartments.
Exactly. And huge education that we've been involved with over the last 5+ years as I've gotten into the modular and or manufactured. So pre-manufactured or encompasses both manufactured and modular. And we're very different. Modular is very different than manufactured. Manufactured covers your old single wide, double wide.
The traditional thought process, right?
What most people think of when you say a pre-manufactured home. Something Sears Roebuck started, many centuries before, has evolved into these really fun, beautiful looking trailers that you can wheel away if you wanted to. Well, I say that sarcastically because what we're doing is we're basically building the homes that I've built for years on site. They're built on a raised foundation or a real foundation bolted to that foundation, and by the time we're done, regardless of whether it's been built in a factory and then shipped out, the finished product is of a custom level and sort of seamless to what I'd previously done.
And it really is custom too. In fact, we'll interject some of the video here with examples of really what you're producing out of this facility, and it's absolutely amazing. It's mind-blowing. You wouldn't even know that it's modular.
That's our goal. Our goal is to be able to provide. So I always say there's no excuse for bad design. And we're building something brand new. We're building something in modules, but at the end of the day, you won't be able to tell the difference when you get on site.
What's amazing is we're in an environment right now where it is just construction crazy, right? But at the same token, you're starting to find deals become more and more, how should I put this, shy to jump the line, right? And I don't know if I'm really saying that right, but basically land costs are going up, construction costs are going up. People are getting kind of nervous, right?
Manpower is short.
Manpower shortage. And you know what? I think you have a solution to two of those, right? And that comes down to manpower capability, right? And the ability to build indoors like we're in right now simultaneously as someone's breaking ground.
Absolutely. That's basically the secret to a modular off-site build. We can, at the same time the site work's happening, the site utilities are happening in the foundation, we can be simultaneously building the structures inside here that when the foundations are done, we land and set the modules on top of the foundation, and a couple weeks later you've got finished product.
Amazing.
So
wow.
That's something that you just can't do on site.
So to go with the mindset with the consumer, right? I think you still have an archaic mindset a lot of times with the cities, right? And how they look at this type of product, because quite frankly, everything that you see behind us is an example of how it's being built inside, right? So how do city planners, city managers, I mean, everyone that you deal with at the city, how do they look at this? And is this a difficult threshold to get over with that?
It's a really good question, and it's a product of the fact that we're a young industry, especially on the West Coast, whereas people in Europe have been doing it for 20 plus 30 years. But it really starts with the owners, the developers. We're a wholesale company that sells directly to those clients, and every person we talk to says that they're so excited about the fact that what they know a little bit about modular, they've investigated a little bit, so everyone wants to do it, but there is a bit of a learning curve.
Sure.
And the planners and the city managers, stuff like that, though, they are responding to the developers and the smart home builders that we're working with right now, who
That's
are embracing
fantastic.
the technology and bringing these projects in. And what's great is by the time they like it, so there's some energy behind it, but then they see actually what it's made of and how it's structurally
And the quality
connected,
behind it, right?
Quality behind
Yes.
it, and it's a much smaller hill to climb once people actually get into it. It's new, so that's potentially a little bit intimidating, but when they really understand it, it's a very, very simple process. And typically we get the example of when all of us were kids and we were building Legos, that it's as easy as that for the most part.
And it's not. I mean, there's so much that goes behind us. And Brad and I had a chance to talk about that as well. It's interesting when you look at where we're at in the marketplace right now. You do have competitors out there, but I don't think they have the value add that you have. And here's the reason why. You're not transporting these modules from Idaho. Right? You're not transporting them from the different regions where these are centered. You're here locally in Reno.
Absolutely. So modular, because we ship things out in boxes, we ship a lot of air.
Yeah.
And therefore, and it's big boxes. So therefore, one of the biggest costs can be transportation, depending on how large your project is. And so it creates then a limited region for every one of the factories to be. So our factory is the first in Reno, and our regional areas are basically Nevada and Northern California. And by the time, if I ship a product up to Idaho, as you can imagine, we would be less competitive based on our transportation number. And but the opposite's true.
Okay.
So we get to service Northern Nevada and Northern California very with very minimal transportation costs.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you talk to a developer, right, who's basically the type of person that you want to do business with, they're out there, they have a piece of dirt that they purchased, they want to build multifamily or residential, right, non-multifamily, because you do that as well.
Correct,
yeah. So how does that conversation go, and what are some of the concerns that you have, or that they have, when they talk to you about this process?
Again, it's mostly the unknown of what the process is.
Sure.
And we've seen a lot of site-built projects come in that on the outside look very simple and very easy to build in a modular fashion, but by the time you look deeper into the plans, none of the walls line up, and it wasn't really designed efficiently.
Okay.
And so, our biggest hurdle is trying to get into the projects early enough that we work with people to design in a modular format, because no one is really doing that from the ground up now.
Got it.
But it's going to change. We're seeing the change. We're on design development teams for a number of multifamily projects, and it's because people see value in it. It's just a matter of getting out there and then people understanding it more, and pretty soon, most everyone with hotel, like hospitality or lower income housing, student housing, multifamily, most all of those are going towards modular.
Absolutely. In fact, I've been there when we've had conversations with developers, and they pose the same type of concerns that we just discussed. And it's amazing how really I think the misunderstanding of this industry as a whole drives to a certain perception which isn't true. And when they truly understand the value behind what you offer with not only cost savings, but efficiency and timing and getting product to the market, I think it's a different tune that they have.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick about the general contractors, okay? Would they consider you a competitor, and how do you work with that whole environment?
I've been accused of being a competitor to GCs, but at the end of the day, we're actually a partner.
Yeah. We
are replacing, for a general contractor who may have 60 subcontractors on any one project, we're replacing, say, 35 of those subcontractors, because those components, those scopes of work are being built strictly inside our modules. But an owner needs a GC basically to do the entire project, and so someone to do the grading, the site work, the utilities, the foundations, and then if they partner with us, then we do the module component of it, but the GC then also behind us on a multifamily project does the siding, the roofing, and some of the common area finishes. So it's a partnership.
So you're a strategic partner in this whole process. In fact, if you're a general contractor, I think this could be a great value add that you can provide to your clients, having this option, because quite frankly, you're not going to take the general contractor's business. In my mind, I think you're expanding their business by offering another component. And quite frankly, if I was a general contractor and I had the employee base that you're talking about, now that goes on his payroll and his dime, I'd be like, you know what? Take them, right?
We're welcoming a new breed of construction workers for sure.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
And definitely, yeah, we can't go to a client, for example, and say, okay, we're going to be the only person that you contract with.
Sure.
It's going to be either a separate contract or us into and underneath the general contractor's contract.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're absolutely a partner.
It's exciting, and really, Brad, I think you're at the precipice of an industry that's really going to take off. I mean, once everything gets fine-tuned the way that you're fine-tuning it, right, and you start seeing everything roll out, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I really am.
We are ecstatic. My entire life of doing things we call herding cats on site.
Yes.
And doing it that old way is just, I'm super excited. It's the wave of the future. It's it's just the better way finally for technology to meet construction.
Absolutely. So if a developer, landowner, anyone out there wants to inquire about your products, how do they go about getting a hold of you?
Info@starbrookmodular.com.
Info@starbrookmodular.com, and also I'll put that at the end of the video as well.
Our Starbrook Modular website obviously has contact us, it's got more information about us between our residential products as well as our commercial division as well.
Fantastic. Well, I truly appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All
Pleasure.
Right.